Hello everyone, this is Alex Stopp here, and I am bringing you quite a long review of the Malaysian Grand Prix. In the background we'll have a little bit of a 25% race. I'm not sure whether I'm going to show the whole of it because it's a long race, and I'm driving as Felipe Massa with no assists on. I'll just put that on except for the corner line. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to review the Malaysian Grand Prix. Now, it was a very, very controversial Grand Prix, and in that way it was exciting to watch. I mean, there were some good overtakes, good battles in the race, but of course the controversy really sticks at the front of your mind. Now, why don't we start at the top with Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber. Now, this situation got me very angry at the time at Sebastian Vettel, but I am not a Vettel fan at all, so I would be biased in that fact, but I felt really that should have been Mark's win. Mark has been told to stay behind Sebastian so many times, then once when Sebastian's asked to hold behind Webber, he doesn't. I just can't see why he'd do that. It's just defying Red Bull, if anything, because he's an employee of Red Bull. I mean, it's like being a person on the cashier and then stealing, being told not to steal money from it, but then stealing money from it and then getting away with it. It just doesn't make any. It just doesn't. It's just not right for the sport. I know team orders, you may say, it's not right for the sport, but when it's legal, this is the wrong way to do it. I'm not saying the whole station is the wrong way to do it, but the way that Vettel carried it out is just the wrong way to do it. It should be done in a more passive way, not televised kind of way. But now, of course, there were two team orders. There was the Red Bull one, the Mercedes one. But Vettel, I mean, that first radio message, which was he is too slow, get him out the way. He is too slow. I mean, the way he said it as well was typical fed-up, spoiled kid. Now, I felt like he's like this for a long, long time. Red Bull have not disciplined him into being a mature racing driver. An example of a mature racing driver, if you want like the perfect one, you'd have to say it would be Jenson Button. I've never seen him get angry, really. I know he complains a lot, but he doesn't get angry at anyone. So yeah, he is the perfect example of the mature driver. And then you look at Vettel. I mean, you look at Hungarian Grand Prix last year, saying do something, much faster than Button, do something. Then when they told Vettel that he needs to wait to see, and Red Bull will try and do something, he then came on a lap later saying, come on, do something, which is actually quite rude towards the team, if anything. Now you see me restart the race, but I thought that bit was a bit more exciting, so I put it in. But complete failure from me there. But now we've covered Vettel. I mean, he had a good battle with Webber, a very close one that had a very good overtake in it, has to be said, but not a very legitimate overtake. I felt not. This has really, because I've always felt that Vettel has been a little bit like a media golden boy. Most TV coverages praise him and treat him as if he's the top F1 driver around, and it should be learned that he is not perfect and that he has a lot of flaws, and really big flaws, which make him, to me, unlikable as a person. But of course, you lot have different views. I'm not going to say that everyone should think that Vettel is unlikable, because he's actually quite humorous. If you look at the Top Gear thing he did, that was humorous. But this race has really showed his dark side to other people who weren't aware of his dark side, if you want to put it like that. Now on to Webber. Second place result was still a good result, but he could have had the win. Now, of course, I've explained the team orders things. So there's no real point of carrying on with this. Mark Webber deserved it. He deserved the win. Vettel didn't. I don't know what else to say to that. Vettel did apologise after the race, saying that I wish I didn't celebrate, or if I could take it back I would, but I call bullshit on that, complete bullshit. Vettel wouldn't have given it back. Now some people were saying after the race, why didn't Red Bull bring in the call to Vettel saying let Webber past when they had the 10-second lead over the Mercedes cars of Hamilton and Rosberg, but they'd already noticed that they had no control over what Vettel was doing. If Vettel went and defied orders and overtook Webber, then do you think he's going to do it again? Yes, of course he is. There's no point really contacting him again if he tried to go for the win and then give it back again. It just completely spoils the situation for Vettel, if anything. So Sebastian Vettel showing that he is not perfect, as I proved in the past, and he's really like fucked up here as Vettel. Anyway, shall I go back to Webber? Okay, really good race for him. He actually showed some really good pace, which he couldn't show in Australia because he had a problem, and he's not very good at Australia. He has very bad luck at Australia, as it proves by that curse problem. But Webber, this actually showed that Webber could fight up there again, because in 2011 Malaysia, 2012 Malaysia, Red Bulls were close, okay, but they weren't like fighting on track in Malaysia. But this race showed that because in Malaysia 2011 Vettel dominated this race and Webber didn't, he was somewhere like third or fourth. This really shows that Webber has still got it in there, and I think with a bit of luck he could be a championship contender, and I really hope he is. He deserves all of it. He is a real legend to the sport, and he shouldn't just be ignored like he is. Now that's the Red Bulls done, and we're on to Mercedes, and we've got another bit of team orders with Lewis Hamilton staying ahead of Rosberg, and Rosberg being told not to overtake. But firstly, it's a really good result for Mercedes, the best result they've ever had since 2010, since their comeback, with 27 points in the bag, because of course when Nico Rosberg won last year, Schumacher retired from second and they only scored 25 points, but 27 points on the board for Mercedes, an excellent result, and that shouldn't be put down. It's still a really good result for the team, and that is probably why they use team orders now. Lewis Hamilton was fuel saving for a huge part of the race. I'm not quite I think that Mercedes were gambling on it being a bit more wet, which means they could run in the intermediates for longer, which means the engine's not running as high revs, which then means they're saving more fuel just through driving around in intermediates. But Mercedes really showing that they have the pace to match the Red Bulls. I think that if Hamilton didn't have the fuel saving or that problem in the pit stop, which was hilarious, he really could have been second. I don't think he would have got first. It's a bit of a punt for that. But Mercedes, yes, again with just a tiny bit of luck, all the tracks suiting them, which I think China will, they'll be right up there. So a really impressive day for them. Now, I just want to talk about the mindset, because if you look at the mindset of Rosberg, he was behind Hamilton. He radioed saying, I could go much faster, which is different to what Vettel was saying, because Vettel was saying he is too slow. And if you see by that, you can see the negative and positive attitudes those drivers have, because Nico Rosberg was saying it in a positive way, as in, I can go much faster, while Vettel was saying he's just too slow. Which I think is completely, shows the character of Vettel, and the nice person that is Rosberg. Rosberg was a bit annoyed after the race, but that's pretty obvious. But he was mature about it, and he said his last few words on the radio were "Remember this time." Very interesting there, because of course he lost a podium because he had to be told to stay behind Hamilton. Which, I don't know what to say about that. It really Rosberg expects it to be paid back, but Ross Brawn, I expect, will end up paying it back, because I think Rosberg's going to match Lewis Hamilton throughout the whole season. So I don't think that you need to be worried about a 1-2 situation happening in Mercedes with Hamilton being number 1 driver, Nico Rosberg being number 2. It's not going to happen. I see them as equals, because Nico Rosberg has equalled Hamilton in almost every area. I've seen beaten him in some. So really, you can't just say that number 1, number 2. But we will go out of the top 4, which was the main story of the day, with Felipe Massa. Now, he had a very, very weird day for Ferrari. He finished in 5th, which is an okay result. He got 4th place in Australia. No, he's got 5th in Malaysia. Not too bad. But I don't know if you saw his start, but it was absolutely dreadful. By turn 3 or turn 4, the corner we are on now on the screen, he was something like in 9th place or 8th place. I mean, it was just dreadful, the kind of start that Felipe Massa got, and the Ferraris are usually fast starting, which we saw Fernando Alonso go in 2nd place, but I will talk about Fernando Alonso at the end, because he finished in 24th place. It wasn't meant to be an insult to Ferrari, I'm just saying he finished in 24th place. Now, Lotus, 6th and 7th. Now, they got held up in a lot of traffic, with Romain Grosjean beating Kimi Raikkonen. Now, the significance of Grosjean beating Kimi Raikkonen is that Grosjean has got it. I believe that Grosjean has the speed. Whether he has the racecraft yet to be Raikkonen, I very much doubt it. But Grosjean, if anything, he's faster in qualifying. But he hasn't been faster in qualifying so far this year because Lotus haven't given him the parts, and he's 1 step behind in development compared to Raikkonen. But 6th and 7th, 14 points, not too bad, I guess, but they were held up in extreme traffic for a lot of the race, and they didn't have the straight line speed to pass Sergio Perez for a lot of the race, Kimi Raikkonen. Now, Nico Hülkenberg, his first Grand Prix of the year, because he missed Australia, of course, through no fault of his own. The fuel system, something went wrong with that. And yeah, good result. 53 seconds off, not too bad. Only 5 seconds behind Kimi Raikkonen in the end. Really good result for Sauber. Their first points of the season. They deserved it. And Sauber, they deserve way more points than that. Now we go on to Sergio Perez, who took 9th place. Quite an impressive drive. Didn't match Button though, although Button, he retired. Nowhere near matched Button. But got 2 points in the bag, which is the first time he's ever got points since he was announced as a McLaren driver. He didn't score any points in the last part of the season for Sauber last year. But McLaren have really stepped forward to their car. I think that they may end up winning a lot of races, because I think their development curve will be straight up, and they're going to end up, by, I think, Spain and Monaco and stuff being at the front of the grid, like the very front of the grid. Which, although now it looks unlikely. I mean, they're 1.9 seconds off in Australia, and now they're just 0.6 off. That's 1.3 seconds earned in a week, and they don't even get to go home, as in back to Woking. So, amazing result, really, for Perez. Good points in the bag. It was only 2, but 4 points so far from McLaren. I think they can be pleased with Sergio Perez there. Jean-Eric Verne getting a crucial point for Toro Rosso, has to be said, because at the moment it looks like it could be McLaren versus Toro Rosso, but no. Verne even did a very good job beating his teammate who retired, but I think he was ahead of his teammate anyway on track. Verne has it. He can do it more than people expect. 1 minute 27 off, and that's the end of the points. And then we have Bottas in 11th. Bottas, that Williams is not there. It's just not there. It's just quite a terrible car. Not really what you expected, because they had a really strong car last year. You expect them to come to this Grand Prix with well, to the first Grand Prix with developed what was it, FW27, or FW26, can't remember. But last year's car, I mean, they won in Spain. They got pole in Spain, well, controversially, but they got pole in Spain. Third on the grid in Valencia. Third on the grid in Abu Dhabi. Second on the grid in Singapore. I mean, that shows pace from Pastor Maldonado. Oh, and is it third or fourth place in Spa? That really shows Pastor Maldonado has speed, and last year's car had speed, but this one, I mean, it just looks bad on track. It just looks aerodynamically bad. I'm not quite sure what's wrong with it. They say they can make a quick fix to it, but that seems unlikely to me, and they might end up having another 2011, which is really disappointing for the Williams team. Now Gutierrez finishes yet again a lap down, a long way from his teammate. Esteban Gutierrez has been frankly disappointing. He ran the points for a bit of the race, but he's just not got the pace at all. He's been off a few times. He's struggling out there. That's really all I could say about Esteban. Now in 13th place we have Jules Bianchi, who has really impressed, and he has really gone up in people's expectations. Jules Bianchi has outperformed that car so much. Max Chilton, his teammate, was 1.3 seconds off in qualifying. 1.3. And I wouldn't say Chilton is slow. Jules Bianchi, top man, down there at Marussia, and getting a crucial 13th place, which puts them ahead of Caterham in the constructors. Well, I think they're already ahead in the constructors, but now they've got a 13th place. Now Charles Pic and Van der Garde finishing behind for Caterham. Quite disappointing for Caterham. They expect to be ahead of Marussia, but I'm sure they'll be able to fight back a little bit later on, or Marussia will run away with it. Max Chilton finishing a lap further down than Bianchi, 2 laps off, and he is the last classified runner. Chilton must be really disappointed. I would, if this kind of thing was going on. I just wouldn't be able to stand it. He's so fast, Bianchi. I'll be really frustrated with myself, wondering how I can get that speed. I've been talking very quickly and for a long time now. Breathe in and out now. Jenson Button retiring on the second to last lap. Now he was running in an incredible 5th place for the majority of the race, but then he came into his last pit. He was actually leading for a bit through his pit strategy, and he said that a podium was possible, and I think that a podium was possible, but the right front wheel nut was not fastened on properly, and he had to stop in the pit lane, and they pushed him back, managed to get it on, and he was down in 14th place, but then he started setting fastest laps, if you saw on the TV, and he actually worn the left front really badly. Kept on locking it, and it went down to the canvas, and they decided to retire the car with 2 laps to go. That means they won't get any gearbox penalties next race. Daniel Ricciardo retiring. I can't remember why he retired. Pastor Maldonado crashed out. I can't remember what lap it was, but it was one of the early laps. He's one of the most consistent drivers this season, Pastor Maldonado. He's crashed both times. Really consistent driving for Pastor. Pasta. I want some pasta. No. Adrian Sutil and Paul di Resta. Now these guys had horrible problems in the pits. Dreadful problems in the pits. They really, Force India need to. They tried a new wheel nut and it didn't work, which is quite embarrassing for them and a real disappointment for them, because they've got a lot of speed in that Force India. I think that Suter will get a podium and di Resta will get a podium. I know a lot of people are critical of di Resta because he hasn't really had that good of a result so far. I mean, he's had a 4th place in Singapore last year. That should have been a 3rd if there wasn't a safety car. But yeah, you get the point. Now, 24th place, that doesn't exist anymore. 22nd place, Fernando Alonso. Ferrari called the decision not for him to pit. Stupid decision, because as soon as he went in Webber's dirty air, basically all the air, all the turbulent air coming off the back of Webber went flying into the went into the wing, and then the pillar broke, and then of course I went under the wheels and he couldn't steer. As I showed this really dumb incident. What is Maldonado doing? As I show on that replay. I don't usually do replays while I'm racing, but yeah, I mean, come on, what's he doing? You just turn left, turn left, turn left. No, I'll just turn right into you. Brilliant. What a brilliant driver there from Pastor Maldonado. But yeah, that's pretty much my race review. Now, will I carry on with the rest of the race? I've got 6 laps to go. I'm not sure, because you'll know whether I do or not. But I think I'll conclude here. This race has been a really good race, a juicy race. As you can see, I've talked for a long time about it. But I hope to see more of this kind of stuff. Now, Vettel was disappointing and showed he was a spoiled brat. Webber's angry, and Kimi Raikkonen is probably angry as well. So a lot of people unhappy at this race. Both Mercedes drivers unhappy, Webber and Vettel unhappy, 5th place Massa unhappy, Grosjean and Raikkonen unhappy. Nico Hulkenberg was probably the happiest person, in fairness, which is not good. Although Button should take some courage out of it. 5th place for a lot of the race. But this has been Alex Stop, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.